My name is Brandon Johnson. I am the sync representative from Mount St. Joseph University, along with Kate Custis. I'm here with Cincinnati Bengals punter, Kevin Huber. If you don't know much about him, he's a two-time All-American at the University of Cincinnati, as well as a first-team All-Pro and Pro Bowler in 2014, which is quite the resume, Mr. Huber. I think that's pretty awesome. As I mentioned before we started this interview, half of the questions will focus on Cincinnati as a whole, and then we'll talk about, what you're doing to get ready for this upcoming season. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, we'll start with question number one. So I understand you went to Archbishop McNicholas, and then you went on to the University of Cincinnati, and now you're a Bengal. So what's it mean to you to play your whole entire career in your hometown?
I think it's been a pretty special thing that I've been able to do. That's not something that happens very often. I think in Cincinnati for the Bengals, there's only been one guy prior to me that's played in Cincinnati all the way through. It's been awesome for my family. And I know what guys have to go through when they have to come to a whole new city and, start all new, get new friends and know absolutely nothing. So I've been really fortunate to be able to have my family, my friends. I'm still got a group of buddies from high school that I still hang out with. So it's been a really fun experience for me, and I've been pretty fortunate to be able to do that.
I mean, that is pretty awesome. I mean, if I were able to stay in my hometown my whole life, I think it'd be pretty special. I'm assuming you think it's super special, which is awesome. What part of Cincinnati is closest to your heart? Like, what's your favorite part or favorite place in the city?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think kind of like the whole downtown area. When I first, got to college, they always talked about don't go downtown. It's not safe. And be able to be here the entire time and be able to see the downtown area grow to what it is now. I think it's, when I've had guys from other teams, when they come in town, when they come around, they cut in the hill, they always talk about how beautiful downtown is, and that view when you're making that bend, and, the food scene that's kind of been created, the art scene, all that downtown. I just think downtown as a whole, just to be able to see how it's grown over the last decade has been pretty cool.
Awesome. This one's more for, I guess, the younger generation. Obviously, people who are newly dating. What would you consider the perfect date or date night in the city?
Oh, man. Well, you're going to start with dinner at Soto.
Okay.
Cool atmosphere, really good food. Or there's a new spot, Pep and Dolores. That's got some really good Italian food. We got to start with a little Italian food. And then, catch a show at either the at Aronoff or the Aronoff, or maybe over at Music Hall.
Okay.
One of those spots. Catch a show. And then afterwards, maybe get some ice cream, a little bit, walk around downtown. I think it'd be a pretty good date night for a first date.
Now, are you a Graders guy, since that's a big Cincinnati thing?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go with Graders.
Awesome. Okay. Last question about the city. You signed a 3-year extension, I think, in 2018 or something like that.
Yep.
What made you stay here? Obviously, you've been here your whole career. You know everything about it. But what made you stay here instead of checking another market? Or was that even on the table for you?
I think for me, I think it'd be really awesome to continue my career. I had my entire career in Cincinnati, so my first choice was to stay here.
Yep.
And, we came to an agreement, and I had no intention of going anywhere else. I do understand that it's a business, but, my first and foremost dream was to stay here. So I did everything I could to make the deal get done. And, from my end of it, and, we were able to fortunately come together with that and get an agreement done.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, now we're going to shift the focus to more of some of your professional career, maybe some before your professional career while you were in college, because again, this is going out to interns who are currently in college, and students who are currently in college right now. So, what was your major in college, and where did you see yourself going if you didn't go to the NFL?
So I did 2 majors, one in finance, one in marketing, and then I had a minor in real estate. I I started out in engineering, and it just wasn't for me, so I switched over. And I think originally I was thinking somewhere in the financial sector, but I've really come to learn that I really enjoy the real estate end of it. So whether it be commercial real estate, residential real estate, or construction, something like that, I think some kind of real estate industry is where I probably see myself going had I not been playing football.
Okay. Now, do you do any of those things like on the side or anything, or do you still keep up with the market or anything like that?
Yeah, I always keep up with the market. I've moved probably 6 times in the last 10 years. I bought old houses and bought and sold and flipped houses, bought houses, renovated them. This house we built. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything. My wife and I both really enjoy doing it. So it's just something that we think is fun.
Okay, awesome. So when did you know, hey, I could be doing this on Sundays?
So probably my first year playing a full season at UC. I only played 2 seasons. I redshirted and then didn't get the starting job for 2 more years. So in my junior year, my 4th year on the team, I played for 5 years. My 4th year at UC, started having a really good year. Didn't really know how well I was doing, and then I got nominated for a finalist for the Ray Guy Award for the top punter in college. Made the trip down to Orlando. I didn't win it, but I think that's when I started realizing I started getting some All-American awards that I could actually, play beyond college and get a chance playing NFL.
And now we see where you are today, which is
Yeah.
awesome. So we'll talk a little bit. What does a typical day in the season look like for you? And how has this offseason changed, obviously, since, the pandemic and all things considered?
Typical day, for our longer days is our typically Wednesday and Thursday. It's our longer days at the stadium. Get in there, we get in there about 8 o'clock, have some breakfast, and then we go right into lifting and meetings. Do that for a couple hours, and then we go outside for a little morning walkthrough, and then there's really not much. A little bit of walkthrough for special teams, not too much. Have a break for lunch, and then we get ready for practice. Practice is about 2 hours typically. I have about 30 to 40 minutes of that. I'm doing some individual work for punting, and then do some holding for the field goal kickers. And then we have a couple team periods for special teams. Other than that, I'm kind of just hanging out on the sideline. Don't want to overdo it. So, and then once practice is over, if there's a punt meeting afterwards, I'll stay. If not, do some stretching, some recovery stuff, and then head home. And I'm home by 3, 4 o'clock.
Okay. So, kind of like a 9 to 5, but
yeah, for 2 days a week.
Home by 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what has the off season been like now since, the pandemic and everything being closed off, and obviously Zoom meetings here and there? What have you been doing to stay prepared, or some of the things that the team is doing?
So I've kind of been fortunate since I've been in the league for quite some time now. The lockout that occurred back in, I think, 2010.
Yes.
We weren't in the stadium. Once the season was over from the previous year, I wasn't in the stadium until training camp. So it's kind of a very similar feel for me. We weren't sure when the agreement would happen, so you kind of always had to stay somewhat prepared. So I've kind of treated the same way, where just stay in shape, keep your, strength conditioning up, kick when I can, just to kind of prepare like I would if there was a normal year. And then, whenever that time comes, just be ready and know that you'll have some time during training camp to get yourself ready for the season.
Yeah. So fortunately, you've been through something like that now.
Yeah.
You kind of know how to go through it.
Right.
And you've been in the league for years, so I'm sure you know how to keep your body ready to go and stay that way. This is my last question. With all the buzz surrounding the team this offseason, what does the immediate future look like for the Bengals, at least to you?
I think it's pretty exciting. I've been paying attention to some of the guys that some of the veterans we signed, and the type of players they drafted in the draft. You can definitely tell they're looking for a lot of leaders. A lot of the guys that they got from veterans were previous captains, Walter Patriot Man of the Year candidates or winners. A lot of the guys they drafted in college were 4-year starters, 3 or 4-year captains. So the guys that they're getting, I think, are really quality guys off the field, but at the same time, they're really respected on the field. So that when in the locker room, they're going to be able to give some leadership, keep guys together. Especially in a time like this when there's so much going on in the world. I think as a team, first and foremost, we've got to stay together and not let things happening in the world divide us, but use that to bring us together. So I think it's, the guys that they brought in are really going to do a good job of really keeping our team together and focused on, what our ultimate goal is, win the Super Bowl.
Sir, awesome. That was my last question. I really want to thank you for joining me, Kevin. I really appreciate it. I hope I wasn't the worst interviewer ever. That's not perfect. Doing it. I really believe that the students will really appreciate this interview, and I believe that you can give a different perspective on what it's like to be a professional athlete, especially in Cincinnati, and being here, your home, for such a long time, and why you stayed, what you love about it. And I really appreciate that. And I wish you and the Bengals the best of luck this season and in your career going forward.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No, thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too.